Meeting to order. All right, welcome everybody to the Lander County Commission meeting, Town Board of Battle Mountain and Austin Board.
This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, it's all right, no worries. Highway Commissioners. All right, you want to lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we're going to have a moment of silence. All right, moving on. Lander County Commissioners may break for lunch from 12 p.m. to 1:15 p.m. Any agenda item may be taken out of order, may be combined for consideration by the public body, and items may be pulled or removed from the agenda at any time. Commissioners' reports on meetings, conferences, seminars attended. Patsy? Austin, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. I did attend the Kingston Town Board meeting on the 17th of September. Things are going well with them. I did want to report that their fundraiser was a success since we weren't able to have the picnic this year, of course, and it's been so difficult, but they did do very well. They said they totaled a little over $6,000, around $6,600 on the raffle. So appreciate everyone's generosity on all of that. On the 18th of September, I did have a NACO Emeritus meeting. We have a workshop coming out, which I know all the commissioners have been included on the email, but it's also for staff. Our next workshop is actually October 9th. We will be doing it with a Zoom conference and virtual, of course. And it is an oversight on public defenders in Nevada. When the Assembly Bill 81 was signed into legislature, they created a new state office. That department also has a board that they report to. And so they're putting everything together now, and it will impact all of the counties regardless of how we do our public defender. So that meeting is extremely important for any staff and commissioners that might like to sit in on that. And again, that's October 9th from 9:30 to 11:30, and that's our NACO workshop. They're also working on our NACO annual meeting, which will be virtual, and actually we meet tomorrow in person in Clark County. And we are meeting at one of the very large fire stations, one of their halls, for us to comply with all of the COVID regulations. On the 22nd of September, I did attend the Pony Express Territory meeting. Again, that was our quarterly meeting, but we did it virtual. The Travel Nevada has some extra COVID funds that they were given to the state, some of the CARE funds, and those are available to the different communities if they want to do something special, something that wasn't on their budget, something they haven't planned, but perhaps they'd like to do some advertising and use the COVID theme, such as visit Battle Mountain, visit Austin safely, that type of thing, something new. So they have extra funds available to do that type of thing. They also are doing a special, it's kind of a, I want to say a gift, I don't know if it's a raffle per se, but it's through the Reno Gazette-Journal. And they have applied some funds there, be doing special advertising with gifts. So I don't know how they're going to be giving those away, but they are going to be starting those soon. And they were pretty positive about getting everything back to normal for the 21-22 next year on our grants, and thought that our regular grants would be available for all of the different counties and territories to do. I also wanted to highlight actually our off-road vehicles, because our registration for all of our off-road highway vehicles has had a separate foundation. They've collected the money that we've all paid for our are off-the-road vehicles, and they have over $1 million. And so they're advertising for any kind of eligible projects that people might have for not necessarily creating trails, but also repairing any of our damaged trails or anything like that. And applications are being taken up until November 16th. So we want to take a look at some of those things too. And that's all I have. Thank you.
We didn't have a quorum for the last pool lock meeting. So I didn't have any meetings.
All right, the one meeting I did go to was Art and Bert were both there. The meeting they had in Elko, and their Board of Commissioners in regard to the net proceeds. And they had Ty Gray from the Nevada Mining Association, he was the president there, to explain what their, the way they're gonna try to handle which ones that they're looking to fight and which ones that they are staying neutral on. I try to stay in close contact with Ty Gray to find out as things move forward. There's rumors that they're gonna have another special session in October, but that goes back and forth. Some days they say they're going to, some days that people say they don't, so we're not quite sure where we're at. I asked for some commitment from the Nevada Mining Association as far as supporting the counties. Are you gonna support the counties, and make sure that we receive what we are owed? And, you know, the comment from him was the Lander County, Elko County, Humboldt County, White Pine County, those are all our hosts, so we are going to look out for the interests of those counties as well. And so I kind of wanted to pin him down on a commitment from the Nevada Mining Association, so I felt pretty good with that conversation, and we'll see how things move forward. But the one thing that I think, I know how Bert feels, I didn't have a chance to talk to Art, it was a little disheartening to only see the only people that were in that meeting were people of government and Ty, and there wasn't anybody from the public, any of the businesses. And I think my biggest concern about that is I don't think people truly understand what's going on. And I just think, and they also think that the government, these bodies are going to fix whatever it is. And that's just not the fact. And one of the comments that I made there was, if my husband, the shift he's on, they got off and they were discussing it, and maybe 2 of the 10 that were standing around knew what he was even talking about. And the sad part about it is that they had handed out information on it, explaining what everything was, and they took 2 looks at it and threw it in the garbage. He goes, none of them even realize, because they think that the body of government's going to take care of all of this for them. So I just think that the community has to really pay attention to what's going on, as do the miners, to understand what can possibly happen with these bills. So, and we'll keep reporting on that, because that's obviously something very important that needs to be discussed. So that's the only meeting I have attended. So, all right. So, moving on to, oh no, he's gonna come on in number 2. So, staff reports on meetings, conferences, and seminars attended.
Good morning, Bert Ramos for the record. So, right now for our COVID numbers, we currently have had 70 cases to date in Lander County. We have 1 active case and 68 recovered. It was my mistake for not adding to the agenda this time to remove Lander County from the state of emergency that we had declared for the county. It will be the first item on our next agenda. I've spoke with Dr. Peters, and he does not feel that it's relevant to stay in a state of emergency for a prolonged period of time. So, with that said, that's all I have for an update. I would add that we might consider putting some money aside for these lawsuits or litigation moving forward with what, and not just lawsuits, but possibly for advertising and letting the public, making public awareness on this issue with the mining proceeds and what it can do to our county. And I'm talking about going like billboards and stuff like that down in Vegas, making something a little bit bigger than a small push. So just something for consideration.
I think that's something we should push with the other counties too, and get them to come in on us, Bert. You said that Nye County called you? You're getting contacts?
Yes, so I've heard from Humboldt, Elko, and Nye. And I don't know to what level they would want to move forward. I've directed them to our DA's office because I feel that's probably better.
We're sending
Fit
an
for them.
email out today.
And they're sending an email out today, I guess, so we will see where that goes.
Very good. All right. For public comment for non-agendized items only, persons are invited to submit comments in writing and/or attend and make comments on any non-agendized items at the board meeting, if any. And discussion of these comments at the discretion of the board. All public comments may be limited to 3 minutes per person. Again, at the discretion of the board. Reasonable restrictions may be placed on public comments based upon time, place, and manner, but public comment based upon viewpoint may not be restricted. Do we have any public comment? Good morning.
Good morning, Sadie Sullivan, Lander County Clerk, and I have Richard Green with me, and I was just gonna have him introduce himself. He's new to Lander County and is my election IT, so I'll have him give you a little insight on himself.
For the record, my name is Richard Green. I come to you from Hawaii. A lot of events, I believe, deity inspired that led me here. I am a veteran of 23 years with 2 DD-214s from 3 different branches of the service. I was a nuclear weapons specialist for the Air Force, where I build AGM-69s and on and so forth. I got a couple of degrees saying that I'm intelligent. My 17-year-old will argue with that. I came from, I had my own business for a while. I was working as the director of IT at Marriott in Hawaii over at King Kamehameha Hotel. The reason that brings me to Battle Mountain is my wife demanded it because she's basically the CEO of my house and I just answer to her. So she said, I want to be next to all my kids and grandkids, and I had to follow suit. So that's what brought me here. And they're all over here, from Elko to Twin Falls to Battle Mountain. I think that's
Well,
fun.
welcome to our team,
Yes,
Mr. Green.
welcome aboard.
In addition, I just wanted to also let you know that the state has received monies for the CARES Act, and I have a gentleman that's came out, and I've talked with a couple of different people, Art being one, on preserving our archive books, and so this was something that I was not aware of, that the CARES Act will cover a good portion of those things, and so he's been here 2 different times, and we're gonna look forward on following that through so we can preserve those books. And the monies are sitting at the state, and the state does not inform the counties that there is these monies sitting there. So I was grateful that I touched base with him again, and that'll be something that we'll be doing also.
So in utilizing that money to have that done, are we still under the agreement of the signature of past, present, and future obligations for, since it is CARES money?
I'm having him go further on that. I haven't been able to read into it to know the ins and outs for sure. He just said the money's sitting there. There is no monies being, that you have to pay back, but I can't answer exactly your question.
Okay, so then if that is there, is that something you're gonna bring back to the board to make sure that we don't under any type of
Right,
obligation?
absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely,
very good.
yes, yes.
you.
I'll have legal and the proper people review it.
All right, very good, thank you.
Okay, thank you much.
Any other public comment? You push it down? There.
Okay, Don Prince, Public Works. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update. The airport water line, they've made it to the airport, but we're waiting till the fire season is over before they do the tie-in. So they moved back into working on the loop line. And then Tuesday, they started on the safe routes to school, the crosswalks. And that started Tuesday. The Austin Water project's going good. They got a few more valves to replace coming down the hill. We might have to do a change order on that. I'm not sure yet. We've looked into the pricing. The dog park up there, I'm working on that. I think I got it sitting on my desk right now, and hopefully we're gonna move forward on it real soon.
Yeah, that road project, holy smokes, I was just up there a couple of days ago. And
Yeah, it's big.
Wow.
It's big.
yeah.
There's a lot of work being done there, and a lot of unforeseen things
Well,
popping
it's
up. And
always the
yeah,
case.
oh yeah, yeah. Any questions?
Actually, I do have one. I'm sorry you're not on the agenda, so we can go a little bit further into it, but I did want to know, has there been an extension for the road work on Highway 50? Because their deadline was October 23rd, and I'm hearing it's longer.
Last thing I saw, they was still on schedule on that part, but that could have changed. That was, I don't remember when I read that report. I think that was like a week or two ago.
Yeah, they did have one 30-day extension that I'm aware of due to change orders. However, we'll put him on an agenda item for the next time so we can discuss stuff like this.
Okay.
Very
Is
good,
that it?
thank you.
Okay.
No other public comment? All right. Going on to the consent items. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and may be acted upon by the Board of County Commissioners with one action without extensive discussion. Any members of the board or any citizen may request that an item be taken from the consent agenda, discussed and acted upon separately during the meeting. Consent agenda materials are available at the Lander County Clerk's office for viewing, and copies are available for nominal charge. All right, beginning with one. Approval of September 24th, 2020 agenda notice. Number two, approval of May 7th, 2020 special budget workshop meeting minutes. Number three, approval of May 14th, 2020 meeting minutes. Number four, approval of May 19th, 2020 special budget workshop meeting minutes. Number five, approval of May 21st, 2020 meeting minutes. Number six, approval of July 23rd, 2020 meeting minutes. Number seven, approval of August 13th, 2020 meeting minutes. Number eight, approval of August 27th, 2020 meeting minutes. Number nine, approval of September 10th, 2020 meeting minutes. And number 10, approval of payroll change requests.
Madam Chairman, I haven't received any minutes, I think, for almost a month now. Have you received
I've
any minutes
received none.
anywhere?
I haven't received anything.
Okay, with that, I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda items including number 1, the agenda notice, and number 10, the payroll change requests.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Patsy made the first, Art seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, very good. Moving on. Number 1, for possible action to approve or disapprove the payment of bills. So, do I have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion that we approve the payment of bills.
Second.
All right. Patsy made the motion, Art seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so we're gonna call in Brian at this point. Oops.
Hi, Brian, I'm gonna transfer you, okay?
Are you there?
I got it.
Okay. All right, moving on. So for possible action to approve, disapprove reserved parking spaces for handicapped veterans at the following Lander County properties: Lions Park, Elquist Park, Lander County Courthouse, Lander County Sheriff's Office, Civic Center, Recreation Center, and any other location this board approves.
I asked for this agenda item to honor our combat vets that have been injured. It's a little bit of a process. We have a vet in town, Corey Surla, that has been active with this. So I would suggest that we approve this and direct Bert to get in touch with Corey, because Corey can help him a lot with this.
I do have some concerns about just doing handicap spaces, and I understand what we'd like to do for benefits for the military, but I wish we had an idea of how many handicapped veterans we actually have. I've done some research on it as much as I can get answers anyway, and I can tell you that under our property tax, for example, we have 59 veterans that actually put their allowance on property, and we have another 59 that put their allowance on the DMV, which gives us 116. Now, if you are disabled, not handicapped per se, but disabled under the veterans definition, and that's entirely different because you can be 100% disabled and from the military and still be able to carry on with a job and not be handicapped per se. But just using the disabled ones, we give a property discount, and all state or all counties do under our state, if they're at least 60% disabled. So we have 3 folks that are from 60 to 79% disabled and have that reduction under our property taxes. We have 3 more that are 80 to 99% disabled, and we have another 8 which are 100% disabled. So if we use just the disabled ones, that's only 14. Now, in the actual amount, we have 430 veterans in this county. So if we only have disabled, not handicapped, but to give us an idea, 14 that are handicapped, or 14 that are disabled, I'm going, if we would like to do something special, maybe we should even think about maybe just separate veterans, not even handicapped. Now, I've never seen any handicapped veterans or disabled veterans special parking signs except in military bases or things assigned that are military related. I have seen some, like at Lowe's, which just say veterans. But of course that's private property. And private property, you can put up anything. You can put employee of the month and anybody could park there. So there wouldn't be any kind of a problem if somebody parked there that was not a veteran as far as our regulations. We're not going to go in and cite them because they're not a veteran, because they don't always carry that identification anyway. Where in a handicap spot, that is a violation and it is a ticket. But it still would honor them, and I'm sure most people would not park in a veteran's sign. They'd leave it for our wonderful veterans because it would be a benefit to them. So it's just something to think about. I thought I liked our idea, but I think it's such a small amount, and if we really want to honor them, perhaps we'd like to think about another way. That's all, just an idea.
But we have visitors from all over the United States here. I think it's rather short-sighted not to look at all of our combat veterans that are disabled or injured. This is an honorary thing, and it was put forth by Corey Serla in a Facebook post saying that there's not enough done. So that's why I brought it to the board. If you don't want to do it, Pat, that's up to you.
Well, no, I don't think that's what she's saying. So I think that if you were looking at it at a broader view, and tell me guys if you think I'm mistaken on this, if you put, instead of putting just disabled, if you put veterans, like say, what I was having this discussion with her the other day, if you say you put 2 or 3 veterans right next to the handicapped ones, you have the 3 veterans and then you have however many disabled ones. So regardless if they were disabled or they weren't, like if my daughter was to come home and go to the grocery store, well, she's not a veteran, she's still in the military, but however, if she was to get out, she could park there because she would be a veteran. And so we're honoring all of them that even if they're not disabled, they can utilize that. And I don't think that it was that she didn't want to do it, she just wanted to broaden it to where it wasn't just the disabled ones, it was all of them. You know, like my father was a veteran, but he wasn't disabled. It's from World War II, and I just think that's kind of what she was looking at. And tell me if I'm wrong in that. So.
I guess I would like to ask a question of legal. If we do, right now when we put up handicapped only, we have to reference the NRS. And of course, that has the penalty with it. If we would put up handicapped veterans, there's no NRS to actually put on, so they wouldn't be giving tickets if somebody parked there that was not a handicapped veteran. Is that correct, Counselor?
Yes, it is correct.
Okay.
Could we correct that with an ordinance, Ted?
Probably.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, that brings up another idea then. If you definitely want it to carry a penalty with it, and we do that, then let's just say we have a special event. And, because we're not taking away from what we legally have to put so many parking spaces for so many handicap, et cetera, et cetera. So let's say we have a special event, we have 5 handicap spots, and those 5 are filled, and we have 2 veteran handicap spots that happen to be open. And now we've got handicapped people that are coming in and still won't be able to use the veterans because they might have to park much more farther away because they're not a veteran. If we don't put an ordinance and just leave it up to the handicapped veterans, then they could actually park there and not get a penalty. Would that be true, Ted?
Yes, if I understand what you're saying, this could be even with an ordinance, it'd be really hard to police. I mean, it's pretty easy to police a handicap because everyone usually has a sticker on their car or they have a placard. But a veterans, it would be almost impossible for the sheriff's department to police that.
All right, so where are we gonna go from here?
Well, I brought the motion. If you don't want to support it, it's all up to you. It's all on the record.
It's not like
It could be just utilized as an honorary fashion, and not do an ordinance, and just create a couple spaces, and hope that the people out there will honor that.
And I agree, and that's where I thought that where if you did it's not the lack of wanting to support it, it's if we put two, like I said, 2 handicapped at these or not handicapped, excuse me, the veterans ones, and hope that people respect that. But instead of it, if it's veterans, and so whether they're handicapped or not, if you have them next to the handicapped, if they are handicapped, they can utilize those handicapped spots if they're veterans, or they can utilize, because they're going to be right next to one another. So that was just my thinking of, if you were going to do it, the honorary for the veterans, put them next to the handicapped, and then they could utilize either one.
That would be my suggestion too.
Okay.
Art, my other clarification that I was looking for was, instead of handicapped, did you want disabled? Which could include handicapped, but also would include the folks that are disabled that are not handicapped, but they are disabled veterans, and that was part of what I was bringing out.
I brought this forward as a concern in the community from a veteran. However you want to do it, do it. If you don't want to do it, don't support it. It's that simple.
It's not that nobody wants to support it, so please don't go that way. It's not that. I think you have support, Art.
It's exactly that. I presented something, you want to modify it, so you're not supporting what I wanted
is
to
not-
support.
and
It's that simple.
stop.
It's all on the record.
That it is on the record enough, okay? So, do we want to try to bring it back reworded, after getting it, because I support it, but as far as that we bring it to, have them next to, we do a little bit more research, because I support it, but I would like to see, because there are veterans who have PTSD and there's no way to prove that they're disabled. I mean, it's that you're opening a big bag of prove that I'm disabled type thing, where if you have them next to the handicap parking, they can park either place if they truly need the handicap, or if they just want to park there because they're a veteran. So I think if we can do a little bit more research, bring it back, and have it done so it covers all veterans, and I think that's the broader thing. Or if you want it just disabled, So why don't we have Corey Serla come in and we ask him exactly what he wants, if that's something that he agrees with, or he doesn't agree with, or his opinion. And so my suggestion is on the next agenda, we request that he come in so we can get a little bit more information, since he was the one who put the question out there. Because it's not that anybody in this, I'm sure in this room, does not support that idea. So if we can,
Kathy, you're not supporting the original concept that was brought forward, so
it's
you're
too
not.
convoluted and stop.
It would be nice if you would let me finish my sentences. That'd be really nice.
Enough. We're not doing this. So please, I'm
Well,
asking
then
you to
stop it.
do not speak to me like that on record. So now, I'm asking that if we can please bring him in and ask him more what he wants. Is that all right that we do that, Ted?
Yeah, it certainly is. If Art just wants to put forth handicapped veterans, that's one issue, but we would need to dissect that, and because we are mandated to have so many handicapped parking spaces. There's no mandate for a handicapped veterans unless we include the handicapped veterans under the handicap, which in my idea, unless we go into this further, it would take away from the handicap only and make part of them handicapped and part of them handicapped veterans. That really doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay. So yes, if we can try to get a hold of him and on the next agenda and ask him what his opinion is, because he may not have even been thinking of it in that sense. And if he is, then we will bring it back and vote on it that way. That's exactly what, but he may not have been looking at it in that sense either. So, if that's all right.
And further, and Commissioner,
Yes.
I would need to get more precise to know exactly what to research.
Okay. Well, for one, we'll have him in here, and then Patsy was looking in and trying to contact people from the state, trying to figure out if there was anywhere else in the state that had this, so we weren't reinventing the wheel if we had to do an ordinance or something to that manner.
Right.
Okay. All right. So then with that, how does that work on that? Do we table it, can we just table it till the next agenda? Is that all right? All right, thank
Unless
you.
there's a motion.
Unless you want to make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we table this and put it on the next agenda, and that we also have it a little bit more general in the definition on the agenda, so that we can think about some other definitions we may want. We may decide to go 2 handicapped and 2 veterans. I mean, by the time we're done,
All right, I'll second that. All right, all in favor?
Nay.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right, moving forward. So, for possible action to approve, disapprove proposed agreement between Wood Rogers Incorporated and Lander County to update the Lander County Master Plan in an amount of $195,500.
Item 3.
Muted. Unmuted.
I can't unmute him. He has to unmute himself.
Who's that, Brian?
Andy Durden, is he speaking? Wood Rogers?
Do we have anybody online from Wood Rogers? If we do, you have to unmute yourself.
There he goes.
Yeah, sorry. For the record, thank you, Commissioners. Andy Durling with Wood Rogers. I'm Vice President and Director of our planning group for our Nevada offices. I'm based out of Reno. Happy to answer any questions that you may have on our proposal for the master plan update.
I'm sorry, what's the name? Who do we have on?
Andy with
Andy?
Andy Darling with
Andy?
Wood Rogers.
Okay, thank you, yes. This is Commissioner Waits. I do have a couple questions. I see, as far as your company, and you've certainly done quite a number of projects and quite a few master plans. It looks like you've been in business about 23 years. But my real concern is if you've done any that are as small a county as we are. When I looked at it, it looks like all of them were so much bigger, and I have real concerns that we don't just end up with a boilerplate like some of the larger ones. But before you answer that, I have a question for our county manager, because I'm still confused. Is this a Battle Mountain master plan or Lander County master plan? Are we including Austin on this?
We are not including Austin, so this is Battle Mountain. I apologize.
I'm wondering if the
if I need to agendize that differently, then I will. I apologize for that. This
I'm
is
wondering
for
how
Battle
much
Mountain.
we can go forward if we can't make a motion.
Since it says for the
Ted, if this is Lander County, but we definitely are doing a Battle Mountain master plan, we can certainly finish all our discussions with Andy on it, but we can't make a motion, is that right?
Well, yes and no. Yes, in the fact that Battle Mountain is in Lander County. If the master plan, what is it called? Bert, is it called the Lander County Master Plan for Battle Mountain?
No, it would be the same as the previous one, which was just the Lander County Master Plan. I believe that was the one that they've been working on for the past 2 years. So we just kind of copied the verbiage off of that, and that's where we came up with this.
So, but the existing master plan is called the Lander County Master Plan, correct?
yes,
Well, then we certainly can discuss it. Does the current master plan include Austin?
Kyla's going to clarify this for us.
Okay, so
Okay.
our definition of Lander County master plan apparently is Battle Mountain only.
No,
No,
sorry, I think the land use plan will be focused specifically on Battle Mountain. The Austin and Kingston has always kind of done their own little land use plan outside of the master plan itself. But the master plan is a Lander County document. It's the entire document, with the inserts of the land use plans, the smaller plans inside of it from Battle Mountain, Austin, Kingston areas. So it is a broad Lander County master plan.
and
Does
it's
that
always been
kind of-
referred to as Lander
That's how
County. Okay.
it always has. And
Okay.
then the Austin master plan is more specifically like the land use areas. Does that kind of, like, this has always been the Battle Mountain, the Lander County master plan.
Do you want us to include Austin, Patsy?
no, Austin has their own master plan. It was just, the confusion was just the names and what we were getting on the contract, because it keeps saying Lander County. And I wanted to be sure that for this amount of money, was it the whole county or is it indeed just Battle Mountain? So it's just a clarification.
It is the Lander County master plan. That's the name of the document. It always has been, and it's for the entire county.
Right, but their
But there are
contract with
separate
us is gonna be only for Battle Mountain. Is that our understanding?
There's separate elements to the master plan. The master plan has specific elements within it. So it is for the whole entire county. The land use plans is where it splits up between the towns.
Then they're actually gonna go down and do a master plan for the village of Austin?
No,
No,
But in the document, it's called Lander County, so it has to be referred to as the Lander County Master Plan. So that's what it's been referred to previously for the last however many years.
Well, Battle Mountain is in Lander County, so
Commissioners, any update to the Lander County Master Plan, whether it be in Austin, Kingston, or Battle Mountain, would be an update to the Lander County Master Plan.
Yes.
Okay,
So I think we can go forward.
okay, thank
We
you.
have the representative on the phone. Hello?
Yep, I'm here. Andy Darling?
Okay, I was looking through on page 2 of 8. Number 2, data collection and analysis, 2.1, bullet point 1, that your staff will review current master plan and zoning code documents to determine whether to focus our efforts for the updates. I would really appreciate if you're hired to digging into this and finding out how a loophole was made so that we wound up with septic density issues. I'd really appreciate that.
Yes, so we definitely understand that that's become an issue for you. We discussed that with your county manager and Kyla. So that will be definitely an area of focus, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Andy, would you go back to my first question then on what smaller master plan projects you may have worked on?
Sure, you bet. So in the statement of qualifications we included with our proposal, we gave you just kind of a little taste of our portfolio for our Nevada projects. So in 2018, we worked with the city of Fernley, obviously a smaller, incorporated city in Lyon County, on their master plan. We're currently working for the town of Gardnerville on a parks master plan, as well as with Douglas County on their countywide master plan. In addition to that, we've obviously worked, we're based in Reno, so we've done quite a bit of work in Washoe County. But outside of that, outside of Nevada, my group in particular has worked for smaller jurisdictions in just over the border in California. We've worked quite extensively over the years for the city of Portola, which is a small city located just northwest of Reno. We've done various aspects of their master plan for them over the years as well. So we kind of have a wide breadth of experience, both rural, smaller jurisdictions like Lander, as well as more urban areas as well. So we bring all of that to give you kind of a comprehensive overview of your master plan and provide you not with a boilerplate, but with a customized, context-sensitive master plan to what's most important to you in Lander County.
And to get us, this is Chair Kathleen Ancho, to get us up where we need to be, we're looking at how long of a time period?
We're estimating 6 to 9 months. So 9 months is kind of what we had talked with Bert about, that would be the outside date for both the master plan update as well as some zoning text updates as well, understanding that, when you update your master plan, there's sometimes some zoning code elements that need to be updated as well, in particular, talking about ordinance possibly associated with septic densities and things like that.
So then after that's completed, how often does a master plan need to be reviewed and updated?
Typically, so this master plan, what we would look at is a 20-year planning horizon. So we would be looking, as far as demographics and things like that, as planning for the 20-year horizon for the county.
Okay.
And our recommendation would be every 5 years you would have minor updates to refresh that information, look at any items that, may or may not be working the way you want them to, and update them, just in minor edits every 5 years, with major edits happening usually in the 15 to 20-year horizon.
Okay, thank you.
So my understanding then is if I'm looking at this right, Andy, all the things that you have listed here are coming pretty much to $195,500. I saw there were some other expenses in there that you say are reimbursable that may run over that, which would be interesting. Or instead of just not taking the full amount, but doing time and materials, and then as things go along, if we decide there's one area that we feel we're already up to date on and don't need any more research on that, we can just scratch that one because we're on time and materials for the rest. Is that correct?
Yeah, so a couple things in there. So regarding the reimbursables, we did include a line item for that. So that would be any, travel charges, mileage, things like that that we would need to, want to be reimbursed for. We did give a budget to that, so that's included in the $195,500. And yes, you're correct. Any of the T&M items, if it takes less time, then it's going to cost the county less. This is a not-to-exceed amount, as we proposed it, with the caveat that task three, the overhead utilities plan, we're not sure exactly. The county doesn't have an overhead utilities plan that we're aware of. It's an element that is required by state law, that the counties have them. So we would need to, what we included in this proposal is effectively a scoping task to reach out to NV Energy, BLM, the Nevada, or the Governor's Office of Energy, and determine what is going to be required. NRS requires that you have a overhead utilities plan for any transmission lines over 200 kilovolts, whether they're existing or planned. And so we just don't have any information on that right now, and so that task three is really to dig in and see what information is available, what information needs to be added, and how we can address that. So that price in particular may change a little bit, but our goal is to try and work with you as much as possible to make that as minimal a cost difference as possible.
Okay, I'm still a little confused, and you're difficult to hear sometimes, so please forgive me, but if I'm understanding this, okay, let's just say that we went with the whole 195.5. Then when I look at the contract, it said you came up with this amount. Let's just say for this task, it was $28,000. Then are you doing time and materials up to $28,000, for example? If T&M was only $10,000, would we have a reduction on that? Or do we have to approve the contract time and materials only to get that discount?
So that is a T&M not to exceed item. So if we only spend 10,000 of that, then yes, we would only be spending 10,000. We would not work up to the 28,000. For example, on task 7, I think you were looking at.
And would not be billing us for that up to, correct?
Correct.
So
Correct. It would only be our time spent. So if we get in and the zoning code text elements end up being far less than we anticipate, then the savings is passed on to the county.
Okay, so we really don't have a choice of a contract with just time and materials. Our choice is the total amount that you have specified and broke down for us for the full 195.5, right?
Yes,
Okay.
some of the items we proposed as fixed fee, and some we proposed as time and materials. So you have to look at each individual task to see that. Really, there's just a couple of them that we fixed our fee on because we feel more confident in what the effort is going to be necessary for that.
Okay, so it could be less, but it won't be more except for the part that you've accepted with reimbursable expenses. But the contract won't be more than that, right?
Correct. Okay. Other than, like I said, the caveat on task 3, where we just don't know what's going to be required for your overhead utilities plan at this point. Our hope is that we can work it into the overall budget, but just not knowing what data is available and how extensive that effort is going to be, that's the kind of question mark for us in our overall cost. That would be the only change. We would come back to you for a change order if that were the case. And I'm not saying it will be. It's just if that's kind of a variable at this point.
Okay, thank you. And my other question was that we are really going to get all of the individual concerns on this with what we're dealing with, because we only have a little over 6,000 people in the county and 6,000 little less square acres. So actually, I just want to be sure we don't have the boilerplate part language in here where I'm going to look at 3 different counties and we're all going to be the same.
No, this would be a unique master plan for Lander County. most definitely. We do include best practices and things like that. So there are some things that would be similar, obviously, because Nevada state law is the same for every county, obviously. But this is going to be a tailored plan for Lander.
Well, Lander's always been unique in a lot of different things, so we just want you on record to say, yes, you will work with us accordingly. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Brian, do you have any questions?
No questions, they've all been answered.
All right, thank you. So do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the agreement, the proposed agreement between Wood Rogers, Inc. and Lander County to update the Lander County master plan in the amount not to exceed $195,500.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Art made the motion, Brian seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, very good. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, guys. We're very excited to be working with you on this. So thank you for your confidence in us, and we're striving to make you proud.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to number 4, for possible action to approve, disapprove the hiring and the funding of a full-time IT company or person to serve Lander County with a salary base of $50,000 to $80,000. This position will consume the already budgeted salary of the safety position. All right.
Okay, so we have Laura here today, and we have Sadie, and I believe you guys met our IT gentleman that's working for Sadie, so they've come up with a plan. I will let them present it.
All right, very good.
Laura Duval, Lander County Assessor for the record. Timing is always key. It turns out that we have been contracting with Performance Computing for a lot of years, probably more than 10. That company recently sold to another company, and their focus now is on the wireless internet service more so than the managed services that they've been providing to Lander County for all these years. As it turns out, I had a meeting with the new owner. Actually, I've had 2 meetings. The first one said everything was going to continue and they would continue to provide the IT services as we needed them and as we have been accustomed to. My most recent meeting, just a few days ago, that all changed and they said they're no longer going to provide that. However, they would allow Brian to continue to help us during a transition period to another company or a person. So as you can imagine, it was a bit of a panic. It's like, oh dear, what are we going to do? We have a very complicated network system, and we have a lot of things going on right now with the transition to a new CAMA system over the upcoming 1.5 to 2 years, just a lot of things. And so I reached out to Sadie because I had heard that she had hired a very qualified IT person for her department. We met. I also reached out to Bert and we had a conversation. I think we've come up with a plan and I hope it's going to work and I hope that you guys will agree to it. This gentleman, Richard Green, I met with him for about 30 minutes. I'm extremely impressed with his background, qualifications, experience, and education. And I talked to Sadie about, okay, we already have this person. He's started, he's already gone through the vetting process and through the background checking and everything, and now he's on full-time with Lander County for the clerk. Would she consider him becoming the IT person for the entire county? He works 5 days a week. We've been contracting 1 to 2 days a week for a long time, which has just not been quite enough, to say the least. It's becoming more and more cumbersome. Sadie has agreed, Richard has agreed. I think this is a wonderful plan that he will migrate into taking over the IT for the entire county. I've already got him on board with Quest. I've got him on board as an administrator of our revised website, the webpage. And Brian has agreed to, and has already been working with him on this transition on anything that he needs to learn about our system. And I think that this is just a win-win for everybody. If you guys would agree to this, that he would transition into becoming the full-time IT person for IT manager, whatever the title is, I'm not sure, for the entire county. as we phase out performance computing. Brian said he will stay on as long as needed, as far as being available on the phone or in person for whatever Richard needs in this transition to learn and understand, make sure he has all the passwords and everything that's necessary in order to accomplish all the tasks that are necessary for the county and everything that performance computing has done. So now I will let Sadie take over.
Basically, Laura covered everything. This is something that I did touch base with Richard and had asked him, would he be willing? And definitely it's something he could do. He could kind of fill you in a little bit on the school district that he was over, as far as the staffing and how many servers and that type of thing. So I'll have you give a little bit of information on that.
And if you could give a little bit of your background for them in case they just so it's on the record.
My name is Richard Green. I was a contractor for Department of Education and DOD at Kakaha and at Kauai Island. I did a lot of stuff for the Department of Education and all their sites on that island. It was about 17 different servers and roughly 3,000 computers. I did it, and then I would spot hire people as I needed for various things. I did that successfully. The only problem I had is with the department itself. It was very late in paying, so I had to move on to other things, and I got an opportunity on Big Island of Kauai, and then I moved there. Hawaii, and I took on a position over there at IT director. I have built probably roughly 30 different networks, fiber rings, through my career, through fiber optics, through servers, all of them, Linux, Apple, Windows. I've worked with every version of Windows there was since its inception, which shows my age. All of the last 10 years of Apple, and roughly 25 years in Linux. Now, coming into an apartment like this, everyone has different departments, and what would happen is I would have to sign a disclosure statement with every different department, just like I would with the DOD, where everything that I do or see or work on in that department stays within that department, and that it needs to be on record for everybody. So whatever I do for this is not translated to another one or spoke about. That builds trust in different departments, where it is it's important if you're going into different places that none of them will get any information from me or anything that I do that'll disrupt their work and their ability to have security. So I've done quite a bit of security. I did at UPS. I did security with their systems in the early 2000s, I believe, where I set up all their stuff, including DVRs where we did recording, motion detection, and all kinds of happy stuff, infrared, all kinds of toys. So I come fully loaded. I have everything you guys need, and I'm pretty much stuck over here because, like I just stated before, I will not be going anywhere.
So, and that's going to be fine, because with your election, I know that you were pretty nervous about making sure that you had specific things and taken care of for your elections.
Correct. Following the federal guidelines,
Yes.
The state guidelines, that type of thing, we will be implementing the thumbprint for securities for signing on. Richard's familiar with all type of securities. He's worked with our IT, with the Secretary of State already, and continuing to work with them, and so he came at the right time for us.
And for the county.
Well, on the record, I will have to say I am truly excited that we were even thinking about a full-time IT. This county is big enough to do that, and with all the problems there are with cybersecurity and all the rest, we have needed someone here for a long time. So my only question is the way that it's worded. It is to approve the IT position. So between HR and legal, do we have to advertise for this position? Can we just approve it, or do we need to appoint and approve Mr. Green today? Can we even do that? We can just approve the position, right?
Commissioner, this is Ted. I would refer this to HR because I don't know if we have to create the position or if the position's already created.
Okay, so our motion is just to approve the position, basically, right? So, I will make the motion that we hire and fund a full-time IT person to service Lander County with a salary base of $50,000 to $80,000.
Well, I'll second that, and it's long overdue.
Patsy made a motion. Art seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So Laura and I have a couple of questions on this, and I think Bert and Liz are talking a little bit, so I'll let Bert go forward on
Yes.
this.
So I guess first thing we would need to know is who IT would be under, or if we would like to, how we would like to structure this.
It's under you.
But don't we need to have a job description? We need to have a job description written.
That's Liz's job.
For my part, I agree that we have to create the position and have a job description attached there too.
So currently, this is Sadie Sullivan, Lander County Clerk. I have a job description. Richard is under my budget. This is something that we, I would want for it to stay in my position. I definitely have him in my position. He would cover the county entirely. Something that we had talked about where Laura has funds, and hopefully I'm stating this correctly, and Laura can, to where she could do a line item transfer for any types of funds. If he takes over the county, of course, the pay that I am paying him, and in addition to it, the county would be more than his current wage. And so I think maybe, I don't know if we would need to have another item. I don't know if it's something that we can cover under this, the way that it's worded, as far as having direction. So, do you have anything, Laura?
So the IT department has been under the assessor's office for 40 years. And I would like to not deal with it anymore, quite frankly. I don't know why it can't just transition to under the clerk. She already has the position, he's already been hired, and then by adding the additional duties and requirements for the entire county would certainly require additional pay, I would think. And what I had told Sadie is I do a grant to the computer line every year that covers a lot of the costs of IT, because they always pay that out of that computer line. So every year I do a grant from my tech fund of generally $125,000 that covers, the contracts and stuff, and I will continue to do that. I have no problem with that. This is so important to the county, and the fact that we can all work together to accomplish, this important goal. I just want this to work.
I think there's several things that need to be worked out, and there's a couple
Perhaps.
legal questions that pop in there too.
Yes.
If we're creating, do we need to do this, this, and this? So I think as far as what we've done today, we've given you permission to create it. I think you need to do it and see what else, if anything else, has to come back to us for an approval.
And Liz, would you check with other counties and see who IT is under? That's what I thought.
Well, that's where that one problem came in, is because with the elections, there has to be, wasn't that where the issue was, where you brought the person
Correct.
to begin with? As far as the election, you had to have somebody specifically in your
Correct.
office that was IT.
Correct,
That's
for
where
the
that-
federal laws, and basically, Yes, it's been
Okay.
stated on the record previously.
Okay, so I wanna make sure that that's understood and that doesn't get pushed
Right,
aside.
and they aren't decreasing, you know, all
Yes.
the federal laws and that type of thing for the security and,
For the election.
So
portion
our
of it.
starting date for our county employee will probably be after the elections. That's very possible too, but those are all things you can work out. I mean, I think we're fine with it. You do what you need to do. We want a full IT. But I mean, it doesn't have to be today. It can be after the elections, you know, whatever.
Because in other counties, if that, you know, the ones have IT, are the clerk's office, do they have their own specific IT person and their counties
No.
have their own? Does IT fall under?
it
the
falls
clerk?
under the elected official as far as the monies, unless the size of it, and it comes, monies come from Laura, like she had spoken.
Yeah, cause I knew, cause I had read that also, you'd given me that.
And I
For
think,
the, IT portion for the elections. you
one of
had
our
a
biggest
specific
concerns in talking with Bert and Laura is just, we didn't feel, we have Richard on board, and then to have an additional IT, so there wouldn't be two people, PERS going out to two people, so that's why, we were looking at, I felt, unless I was, misunderstood it, to where I already have Richard under my budget, you know, he will be receiving the PERS and that type of thing, and so, this would be just taking on the extra duties to where the monies would be in my budget. He goes to you guys directly, we're out of it. Anytime there was a work order per se, he has a system already set up, you send it to that specific ticket, you submit a ticket basically, work order, whatever you'd like to call it, he has that in place already. He schedules it, he tells you a time frame. I'll be there Tuesday at 10 o'clock, and he has to follow that through. It doesn't affect my staff, they don't call our office and say, hey, I need him. He has a system that's already, you know, in place and, can move forward with it, so.
Excuse me. Then, if I'm understanding correctly, this may not be agendized properly. If we are not creating a position, if we are expanding a position that's already there, it needs to be agendized differently.
Yeah, so is what I think Sadie was trying to get to is what I do not wanna do is, you know, big government's already big enough. We do not wanna hire a bunch more people, to do the same job that we can do in-house. So if this is a matter of restructuring this to who he answers to, or hiring him directly for the county and then he covers Sadie's office as well as everybody else, but we just move him around per se to who he reports to or how that works, or he stands alone for that matter. Like he said, he has to sign some sort of disclosure for every department. So standing alone would not be isn't completely out of question in my mind, considering everything that he's gonna be a part of and he can report back to this board. But that's all things that need to be discussed. You guys have approved the salary for this position. I just don't wanna hire another position and have two people doing the same job within the county, both twiddling their thumbs because they're both doing half-time.
And I think in addition to that, Sadie Sullivan, for the record, probably more discussion would need to be spoke with Richard to see what he is willing to do, where he's comfortable. Of course, you know, he would need to have a little bit more of a pay than what I have him at currently is 65. But I think possibly for sure this needs to be discussed a little bit further, possibly come back on the agenda. Like Ted said, it's not quite worded like the direction that we,
We're shooting for.
right,
Okay.
right. So I think, you know, overall as a county, we just don't feel that there's enough for two full-time ITs. So that's why this was already put on the agenda, and then Laura had the meeting with PC, I don't know the new name of the company. And so then it was like, oh, here we go. You know, would Richard be willing? So I think there might need to be a little more discussion on this.
Just a
and
quick question,
move forward.
Sadie. Because I know that you hired him for the elections, but is it my understanding then that Richard would stay, if we didn't do this, he would stay on as your part-time IT? I thought it would come to an end after the elections.
Oh, no, so, no, absolutely not. I have, currently on our website, we need to include for archiving purposes, there's several things that haven't been able to get
Okay, so he
done.
would have been a permanent
still- correct,
part-time.
absolutely.
Okay, then yes, you folks need
Full-time.
to work out some things
there's more.
of what we're doing and how we're doing it and bring it back.
There's things we need to update per statutes to have on our webpage that, I was gonna have Richard be able to, Lur is, allowing for him to have administrative password, which we would need anyway for him. We need to create some areas on the webpage.
We don't need that today.
So
Say that
there's
we're
just,
fine.
well, I'm just stating, there's plenty to do after the elections, and elections truly never stop.
But as a standalone, he's fine as far as filling the federal regulations.
Correct.
Okay.
That's my question. Is it an option, and Ted, perhaps you can answer, that this person or this position, if you will, could be a standalone that answers directly to the commissioners? So you take all of the you can't do that, okay.
We have a county manager, so
Okay.
because we have a county manager, you can't have anybody
Okay.
report directly to the
I just
board.
needed clarification on that, okay.
Right, he can definitely work under the county manager.
Okay, so we'll have to come back with,
So just for clarification, it'd be very similar to Public Works. They would report to the county manager daily, however, they could give updates to the board, so everybody's on the same loop.
Thank you.
so where does that leave us with this motion, Ted?
Well, you guys have approved the hiring and funding of a full IT person. What, if that's not how you wanna ultimately do it, we have to come back with specifics.
To finalize it.
So you can definitely leave the motion where it is.
Okay,
And then but you have to
our
come back,
motion-
either way.
our motion created it with a base salary. So we're okay. You can work from this, do what you need to do and bring it back.
And that's, well, that works, Liz, everything, okay, so you guys can try to get this
Yeah,
figured out.
yeah, we'll
Alright.
definitely work with Bert and
Alright.
Liz on this, so.
Alright, can we take a break, please? To order, are you ready, Kathy? Alright. So, we're on number 5, for possible action to approve, disapprove the language as written and contained in the backup pertaining to employee email addresses and to be added to the Lander County Policy and Procedures, section 2.18.5. You're on.
This has been looked at by POOPAC and approved by them. I just got off the phone with Phil, he's on the line listening to us, and he's understanding of it and good with it with the union, so unless you guys have any questions, we should be good to go.
Yeah, I don't have any questions.
Why? I mean, what happened that you had to bring this to us?
So we had employees that their name, like for example, mine is B. Ramos at Lander County, that were getting emails for departments. Say that I like me working in water and sewer, I'd get emails for water and sewer, and then if I transferred to road and bridge, I'd still be getting water and sewer emails.
Okay.
So they were wanting to keep the email there just for the sake of continued business. But we've changed that now to if they'd like any email that's attached to a name needs to transfer with that employee to where they go. And then for the office itself, you just make it like Battle Mountain Water and Sewer at Lander
Yeah,
County.
you should keep your address as you move through,
Yeah.
so that, but not get your previous position's mail? Okay. Well, I'll make a motion to approve the language as written and contained in the backup pertaining to employee email addresses and to be added to Lander County Policies and Procedures, section 2.18.5.
I will second the motion.
Alright, Art made the motion, Patsy second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright, very good. Moving forward. For possible action to approve or disapprove the continued use of Cassidy and Associates as lobbyists for Lander County. Lander County currently pays $15,000 monthly for their services without benefit of any written agreement. This board needs to decide if they want to continue using the services of Cassidy and Associates or to immediately stop payment. The previous expired agreement was not approved by this board in an open meeting. If the county chooses to continue the services of Cassidy and Associates, to then choose from one of the three following proposals submitted by Cassidy and Associates or to negotiate something new after discussion with their representatives. Option 1, status quo, scope of work, enacted Lander County Land Management and Conservation Act, terms of engagement month to month, fee $15,000 paid in advance. Option 2, current scope of work plus comprehensive federal advisory. I can't pronounce that word. My tongue is not going to let me. Scope of work, existing scope of work, as well as additional federal items, transitional Amtrak, broadband, wildland fire, sage grouse, COVID-19, economic development, subject to understanding clients' proprieties, terms of engagement, 1 year with an
This conference will now be recorded.
to review for additional year with the concurrence of both parties, Cassidy and Lander County, fee $15,000 per month paid in advance. Option 3, revised terms, reduced retainer, succession of fee incentive, scope of work and enactment, Lander County Management and Conservation Act, terms of engagement 9 months, fees $5,000 per month paid in advance, success of $15,000 upon enactment of Lander County Lands Management and Conservation Act. All right.
When we first took a look at this, I was really in hopes that they would come back with an option that we might be able to live with. And the only reduction that they did was the $5,000 for 9 months, and then we pay them an additional $150,000. Yeah.
I need you to open up item 7 as well, correct, Ted?
That's correct.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and read that. I'm gonna go ahead and open
Wait a minute. I'm confused. Why, if we open up 7, don't we have to open up 8 too?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so, go ahead. All right, for number 7. All right, for possible action to approve, disapprove the hiring of Rock Springs Resource Solutions as a lobbyist for Lander County for enactment of Lander County Land Management and Conservation Act in the amount not to exceed $6,000 per month for 1 year. All right, then number 8, for possible action to discuss and disapprove the proposed from Porter Group LLC to work as a lobbyist for Lander County for enactment of Lander County Land Management and Conservation Act in the amount not to exceed $10,000 per month for 2 years.
Jeff, this is Bert here with Lander County. We have you, you're in the open meeting here at Lander County Commissioners. It's not time to speak yet, but we just want to get you on the horn.
Okay,
Okay. 1 second, we have to add one
Okay,
at a time.
okay.
Well, we're looking for Chris Porter. Well, I'm doing well. This is the phone number they gave us to call. We're looking for him, and we're in an open commission meeting here.
Well, thank you. It's actually, we're both Chris Porter, so.
Okay, that's perfect. We're gonna put you on the line. They opened up all the items here, and we have a few other gentlemen on the line that'll have to speak for their items, so everybody just kind of wait your turn.
Okay, so back to our original agreement with Mr. the Cassidy and Associates. And I was terribly disappointed that we didn't have some options to work with. So one of my main concerns was, could we get a lobbyist group that would come in the middle of where we were, because we're already quite a ways down the road, and if we cancel one, would we ever be able to finish it up with somebody else? So with that, yes, we actually have taken a look at that. We have 2 other proposals right now. My first recommendation is that we give a 30-day notice to Cassidy and Associates. Because I truly don't think that they should be representing us anymore at $15,000 a month. And especially right now when everything is kind of on hold anyway and we're not doing anything, we do have to give them 30 days notice, which means if we give it to them, October 1st, then we'll be paying for the month of October and that will be it. Is that correct? Okay, so I'm going to make a motion that we terminate our contract with Cassidy and Associates as lobbyists for Lander County.
Want a second?
Well, I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
In the packet, we have vendor history report. We're supposed to be paying $15,000 a month, and we're paying more than $15,000 a month. I think what I'd like to see from any of the lobbyists that we hire is this history report and what they did for their money. I mean, $15,000 is $15,000, except when you get paid, you're getting $15,104.70. Now, the $104.70 isn't a lot of money, but an agreement's supposed to be an agreement. And if it costs $15,000 a month in Washington, D.C. to wine and dine people so that you can get them on your side, that's what it costs. But I want to see where the money went. So,
I agree with Art. We need a detailed invoice showing what we're paying for.
when we go on a trip, we document every penny. When we're spending money, this would never pass an auditor. So whatever we do, because thinking about this, if you're taking people out to dinner, you're wining and dining them, it's gonna cost you $15,000 a month. Take a person to dinner in DC, you're gonna spend $700. So if the money's needed, that's one thing, but I sure as heck want a better accounting system for whoever we hire.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, gentlemen, I think I need a clarification then, because the motion is to terminate their contract. And yes, I did go through, I see some of their months, they certainly didn't do anything for the 15,000, but that's not the point. The point is, we were paying 15,000. Now, if you don't want to terminate them and you want to ask more questions, that's fine, that's up to you. I certainly think we need some accountability, and I agree with you. If you want new lobbyists or whatever we decide down the road, we can ask for monthly invoices, whatever, rather than just automatically paying their sum. But I'm concerned about what you want to do about the motion. Do you still want to stay with them or not?
I'll second the motion to move towards termination.
Okay.
Well, if you just want to do that, that's fine. I don't really care who's lobbying, but I want them to lobby correctly. And if it costs $15,000 a month, I want to know why. Because there's a big difference between hiring somebody for $15,000 a month and $6,000 a month. And if the results are the difference, and you need to pay $15,000 a month or $12,000 a month or whatever it is, that's fine. But we need accountability on this issue.
All right.
Put it up for a vote, I don't care.
Yeah, okay, so Patsy made the motion, Brian second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. All right, so we have number 7 and 8 already read in and open. So some of my questions are, we're not, from the point that we are now, where there's nowhere we're gonna lose ground on the bills that we have out there. Is that correct?
I don't know how, if we switch lobbyists, will the new lobbyist be entitled to all the information that we paid for?
That's where.
I believe the other lobbyists that are on the line would probably be better fit to answer that.
Okay.
All right, did you hear me? Kathleen Nancho.
You might start with Jeff, he's item 7, and then move to item 8, which
Jeff.
is Chris.
All right, let me put this down. Jeff, this is Kathleen Nancho. Did you hear my question?
Yes, I did hear that discussion. I'm sorry, Kathleen, are you the chairperson of the committee, of the commission?
Yes, and I was wondering, are we going to lose any traction of where these bills are now? That's the huge, obviously, the big question is because we don't want to go backwards at any point.
Okay, so let me be very specific. And to get ready for today, I did some background investigation into the status of the bill, and I can assure you, you will lose no ground for the following reasons. The bill is going nowhere, is unlikely to go anywhere this year. And it's not just an opinion. There's procedure that has to be followed for a bill to get passed, and that procedure has not occurred this year yet. And I spoke to Amadee's guy, who is working very hard for you guys, and I spoke to the Republican staffer who runs this function on the Committee of Jurisdiction in the Senate. I could give you whatever detail you want, but I have quite detailed knowledge about the status of the bill. And more than that, you guys, it's not you, Republicans in the House have kind of institutional obstacles to success right now, which is that the chairman of the House Resources Committee is a vindictive, mean guy, and he's not allowing Republican business to move forward. So not only has it not really advanced in the House, and Amadee's guy told me they're not going to get a hearing, and they do not enact the land bill without a hearing, but he said they've got this real problem, and that Grijalva of Arizona has acted to block all Republican stuff. So not only will you not lose ground, but if you were to retain me, I would move forward with a strategy to overcome what's a substantial hurdle. Right? I've given this some thought. I've worked in this arena for a very long time. I don't know if you've read my materials, but I've given this some thought, and a lot more work is needed to be done to be able to realize success on the land bill that's of interest to you. So that's my answer.
Okay, so okay, all right, you answered my question. Very good. So Martin Paris, is that who you've been speaking with?
Who's that?
Out of Amadee's office?
Ken Brook.
Oh, Ken Brook. Okay, very good.
Yeah, Ken Brook is who I spoke to.
All right, very good.
Jeff, so I have a question.
Sure.
Where actually is your main office?
I'm in Virginia, and so I'm here in D.C. I'm right across I'm in Arlington, right across from D.C.
Okay, because I know you've done some other work for us. Do you have an office in Nevada also?
No, but I have other Western clients, and I come out west fairly often.
Okay.
I have in the past. COVID's messed up everything.
Okay.
But I would certainly be able to. I have clients in Arizona, and I certainly would be able to come out to to Nevada as necessary.
Okay, because when I read through all of your information, I mean, you've got some excellent information in here, but I can't see where it was all in lobbying. It seems to be more with like water rights and things like that, and you brought some other things. So I was just kind of curious on if you specialized in actually a certain type of lobbying.
Natural resource lobbying is the area that I've worked in my whole life. Natural resource policy. I myself drafted legislation that's been enacted, has drafted language that's been enacted. I was viewed as having a big role in passing some of the legislation in the 2002 Farm Bill. I was on the podium with President Bush. Because of my role in drafting legislation, I just got involved in drafting legislation that got enacted in the last Farm Bill. So I actually have, and I've done all kinds of lands work for Idaho recently and other things.
So I have a lot of lobbying experience, and I've also done those other things. I'm an old guy with a lot of experience.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
You guys,
Okay.
unfortunately, it's true. I'm an old guy. I've done a lot of things, including a lot of lobbying and a lot of success lobbying on natural resource issues.
Okay, thank you. We also have, as our manager said, we have Chris on from the Porter Group, and I just wanted to preface that because I have known John Porter for some time, of course, when he was in the legislature, and several counties that have worked with him, and he has an excellent reputation. Kai Anderson had an excellent reputation too, and that still stands. It's just that we thought the $15,000 a month for what they were doing may not be exactly what we needed right now. So with that, the only concern I have with the Porter Group right now is they were asking for a 2-year commitment. So I guess I'm thinking, goodness, if it's going to take 2 years to get this through, maybe we should hold off a little bit before we hire somebody. And Chris, maybe you can tell us, is that open to negotiations of when we do hire you, that we would have to go with a 2-year? Is that your minimum for everybody, or is that negotiable?
Chairman, hi, this is John Porter, and thank you for your kind words. And I know you've had conversations with Chris, but to that specific question, we realize, first of all, with any contract, our contracts have a 30-day clause, so we realize every month we're technically renewed if you're not happy, but we're certainly happy to negotiate the term. We look at legislative cycles, but I think it's important that we let you know that we're happy to work with you and your budget. As you know, I was local government and mayor of Boulder City for quite some time, so understand your challenges and very happy to work with you on the term. But we're very realistic. You have a chance every 30 days to check our report card, so we're proud of that. We're very accountable and communicative, so thank you for asking that.
Might I also add, we understand with the way everything's going right now, especially with COVID and in the middle of the election and everything is kind of at a stalemate, when do you really see things that might be picking up again where we can start to really be doing lobbying things again? With the way, because we're already with our legislators' offices, we're already there with our bills. So the concern is then when they finally get introduced and how long it will take. So do we have some time in between? Should we perhaps be prudent and wait 6 months before we hire anybody?
Well, I certainly understand, again, having been in the community of Boulder and especially today with the budgets. But my perspective is that you have been working very closely with Congressman Amity's office, and as you know, a good share of my staff is formally with Congressman Amity and Senator Reed. So my perspective is that every day matters, and the work that you've done, it likely will be very seamless because we're accustomed to working on public lands in Nevada. A lot of members of Congress think public lands, if they're in Iowa, think it's a state park somewhere in Des Moines, right? Most members of Congress don't understand what public lands really are. But we're helping on a number of public lands bills right now, specific to what Mr. Amity is doing. He's working really hard to get it into a piece of legislation called the NDAA, which has to pass sometime this year, and because of his position on the Appropriations Committee, gives him additional authority. But to answer your question, this is a very compounding process. You can't quit, and now more than ever, because likely the big push for this year is going to be happening sometime shortly after Thanksgiving, which is like tomorrow. So not unlike projects that you've championed in the community, it takes some time, but we want to make sure we can stay in front of that curve, and I think we have the team to do that for you, because you can't let up the pressure, and we want to make sure it's the number one priority. We're a Nevada corporation, and I'm honored to have served Nevada for over 25 years in the state Senate as thank you for acknowledging Congress and Boulder City, by the way, was my toughest job. Local government, I applaud you. But we also, this is a very personal project for us. You know, I again know the pressure of voting. I understand, having actually pushed the button thousands of times, knowing the pressure that you're under. This isn't just a contract, and we're honored to be considered. But, you know, we've helped build Nevada with folks like you, Chairwoman, and others in the last 30 years. So, answer your question. I'm sorry, long answer. I do believe this is the critical time that you continue that pressure and make sure we elevate this constantly with the members of the Senate and certainly Mr. Amity's office.
Mr. Chairman, could I respond as well?
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's important, you know, that you do get good assistance. I want to respond directly to the NDAA statement. Congressman Amity tried to get it on the NDAA, and that failed. So that's not going to happen this year. And what they say in the Senate is that there's been one hearing on a lands bill this year. There's possibly going to be a second one after the election, but it's not clear at all. And you know, but because of the problem you have with Grijalva, there's got to be a broader strategy. But I agree with Congressman Porter that the time to build that strategy is right now. And the first thing I would do is talk to the people who are representing the airport in this matter, find out what they've done, and work together with them to come up with a common answer to a problem that's fighting the whole bill. But right now, you guys, it's not going to, the chance of it happening this year is slim, and you can always count on me to give you accurate information at all times. The other thing I want to point out, though, and this is my own view, but I want to put it out there. I think your biggest need right now that you guys need to lead on is finding money for the flood control project for Battle Mountain. And there's possibilities, as I put in my submission to you, there's possibilities, serious possibilities to find that money. And I can't overstate the closeness of my connection with the Natural Resources Conservation Service, which is a big source of that money. And that's work that's going to take time, and we need to get on it right away. And maybe the last point I want to make in response to comments that have been made, we shouldn't talk about what we're bidding here, but I'll just say you're going to get a lot of work out of me for less than $15,000. So it's just simply not true that you need to pay $15,000 a month to get work done in D.C. That's all I have for now.
Chairman, if I could just add a couple of things, and I appreciate everyone's perspective. But beyond the lands bill itself, there are so many other issues, as you note. And by the way, I remain very optimistic because as recently as this week, Mr. Amity's office has told us they're not giving up, and we never want to give up. But let's take it to the next level. We have expertise in travel and tourism. We have expertise in, of course, land issues. As you know, General Herbert, who's a part of our team, was Senator Reed's right hand for 20 years, has helped with your airports for a number of years. We have relations with the railroad. We have strong relations in the region and statewide. Our role is just not that as a lobbyist on one particular issue, because I think every issue you're working on, from your wastewater to freshwater for economic development, your water wells, 100 water wells you have, and you've been building upon this foundation since 83, 84, and building into this, your economic development and master plan. We're just not lobbyists that show up to do one project. Again, having been with you, sitting in your chair for many years, we're there for any help that you need dealing with the federal government. We are not lobbying Carson City, but we're there to help with your strategy. We'll work with your lobbyists because having been there 8 years in the Nevada State Senate, we provide something unique in that having personally represented, on a local government, a state government official, and honored to be a member of Congress. I've been lobbied by the best, and I've been lobbied by the worst, and we do things differently. And that is that we're a part of the family because of my 40 years of being a part of Nevada. But I want to assure you, it's just not about a lands bill, which is critical, by the way. It is a number one priority. But we want to help you with your economic development. We've been in that business. We want to help you with tourism. We've been in that business. We want to help you in the region because we've been in that and are in that business. And again, I'm optimistic and I'm one of those guys that reads a lot of stuff. So I've been focusing on your lands bill, and I applaud you for the key areas that are there. But every one of those priorities in your lands bill that you've laid out, from the wildfire to the airports to water and sewer, all those come back to jobs. How can we help you create opportunities for your residents to be able to live and work in the county and be a part of the community? So again, I'm optimistic. I've hired the best of the best, from Senator Reed's office, Mark Amade's office, and I'm a believer, Mayor. I'm sure, like all of you on the commission, I hire people a lot better than me. But our passion is to make sure you're aware. We do weekly meetings. We're happy to come to any of your, or whatever the technology allows, happy to come to any of your commission meetings. As you know, our facility is across the street from Capitol Hill. So we're here to serve you in all levels of governance, and we're proud to be considered today. I do thank you.
Brian, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Okay, my only question then is, do we want to go ahead and hire lobbyists now, or do we need to look at our finances again and see where we're coming from? Because we still have another month, even though we will be canceling it. We have another lobbyist through October. We could put this on in October and see what our finances are and where we're going, or do you want us to make a decision today?
Well, if we choose one today, we can always start it after.
Bert, do you have something to say?
We currently don't have a budget for a lobbyist. We're using the professional service budget of my department, so
Yeah, that's why.
the numbers need to be considered for my sake, please.
The money was being taken from professional services. That's how it never wound up in front of us. So we don't want to do that again. We want to have some money.
So then do we want to go ahead and on the next one, create the line item with funding in it and then decide which of the two we want? Will that work? Will that work?
I think that'd be prudent.
Yeah, we probably have to bring that back before, the next budget and make sure we have a line item for it. And, but I don't know.
Can't we do an augmentation? Because if we don't want to wait that long to do that, I don't believe.
We don't want to wait till the next budget, no.
Lakin Sullivan for the record. We wouldn't have to augment. I can just create a line item within the county manager's budget for lobbyists, and Bert and I can talk about it. But I believe that Keith had upped his professional services for this was one of the main things that he had increased it for, so we might be able to just kind of take some money out of that, put it into.
So then we have a line item and then decide at that next meeting, we'll do that line item. Do we have to approve a line item for it?
No, I can just create a line item.
So this will come back to the last meeting in October, because that's when we'll be done with the present lobbyists.
I think your
Right.
motion could just agree to it now. That way we don't have to put it back on the agenda.
So we can just decide which one we want.
Okay,
And set it as a
I'm
start
confused
date.
about an effective date though, because I don't know what I want to use as an effective date.
Because of the 30-day, I think, is where she's.
Well, because of everything that's going on. Okay, I'm gonna give it a whirl. You guys can tell me what you want. I will make a motion that we approve the proposal from Porter Group LLC to work as our lobbyist for Lander County for the enactment of Lander County Land Management and Conservation Act in the amount not to exceed $10,000 per month, with an effective date of December 1st, 2020.
And I would like something in the motion about their billing.
Itemized billing is what he's
There
saying.
you go.
Itemized monthly accountability billing.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Alright. Alright, Patsy made the motion, Art seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
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 I have a question. Where are we going with the one that's 10,000 a month? Why? I mean, it is the first one for $6,000 a month is for 1 year. We have a 30-day out. Why don't we give him an opportunity to prove himself? If we don't like him, we can always terminate him at that point and move with the more expensive group.
I think we're on a 30-day out also with the second one too, regardless of the 2-year, we're on a 30-day out.
That's.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I don't know why we're just automatically going with the most expensive. I mean, I would move to go with the Rock Springs Resource Company for $6,000 per month.
Okay, we did approve the proposal, but the contract still has to come back before us and legal go over it, right? And make sure that our 30-day out is in that.
I think Brian is saying that you approved the $10,000 contract and why you didn't consider the $6,000 contract. I'm not sure if you guys can hear him very well up there.
Oh, he's asking why?
Yes.
Okay, I like the reputation of the Porter Group. I like their location. I've worked with other counties that have worked with them. Like I said, I have known them for years. I even know Stephanie, who actually works on the lands bill. So I'm going with the reputation and their experience in lands bills in Nevada.
Did you get that, Brian?
Yeah, I got it, Art. I'm not in favor of the motion, so if that's the way the commission wants to go, I'll be, I'm not in favor of it, just so that's known.
I think 10,000 is fair.
So we're all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Brian, are you opposed?
Yes, I'm opposed.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
All right. Moving on. Sky Fiber Video for possible action to approve or disapprove the professional agreement between Lander County and Sky Fiber Video to rent space in the Mount Lewis Communication Tower facility.
Hi, I'm Gary with Sky Fiber Internet, Gary Gomes.
Hello, gentlemen.
I'm Brady Chambers, also with Sky Fiber Internet.
Good morning.
Good morning, and I'm David Peisner with Sky Fiber Internet.
I just have one question. How will this benefit the county?
We're paying for it.
But what does the service do?
The service, we're actually bringing service up there to enhance Barrick's mines, or actually Nevada Gold Mines, connectivity to their mines.
Do we need to set a price or anything?
Well, there's two prices, but they need to clarify that for me.
Well, there's a
The
base.
actual rent comes up to $384. Is that the rental rate that you're looking at to give us?
Yeah, the
Or is
total-
that what other people rent from
that
you?
we based it on what we would do with the TV district and the state on their towers. Since there wasn't one in place, we went up there and looked at the facility with Robert to see what was available.
Yes, Robert. And there isn't any conflict with any of your equipment or anything up there?
That was gonna be my next question.
Robert Quick for the Sheriff's Office. I did take them up there. My understanding is currently the county has no base contracts, so I did ask them to submit to the county a proposed contract for them. Based on what they submitted and I read it, I don't believe there's gonna be any conflict with the public safety equipment that's on the site. I would ask the commission to consider in 2 locations on here, potential amendment to the contract. One being under interference, that if it's a public safety interference, that we have a quicker response to deal with the interference from the equipment. And 2, on the termination of the contract, if the county, for whatever reason, loses their permit for the site, that the contract has to be canceled.
Okay.
And we're not opposed to that at all. We can do an amendment to that.
So can those 2 things be added on to there without it being in the motion?
You can make a motion that include the amendment or the modifications.
So we'll just add those amendments to it. Perfect.
And we have the 30-day out for this?
No. We did not put one in.
Pretty much standard in our county.
Well, it's, if there's a scenario like you were talking about where we couldn't stay up there for reasons you've lost the lease, that's what we wanna add.
And there, the 30-day, would that even be of use on a contract like this?
I think it's 60 days to remove all equipment and
but
things
then-
like that. I mean, it takes longer if something,
If you go
If it's in the
14
middle of winter, it's tough.
Yeah, it's kinda, I'll pull that, a 30-day out.
Robert Quick for the Sheriff's Office. Really, this, other than those 2 amendments that I spoke about, this has really nothing to do with the Sheriff's Office. It's a county facility under, I think, a different kind of fund.
So on the agreement that's on here, the last page, it does have the 30 days, so
Yeah.
is that something that needs,
FFA, FCC regulations, blah, blah, blah.
is that something that needs to be corrected, Ted, or is it just standard left in there, or what do we do with that?
What does it say? I don't have that in front of me right now.
It's number 14.
Oh, 14.
I don't know what page it is, almost the last page, right before the appendix. Has something in there about 30 days if they
Yeah.
fail to keep their license.
Yeah, if they fail to keep, yeah, and under D,
That's
14D.
So, D covers, I think, what Robert had mentioned, as far as the interference went. If we interfered with him, there was a 30-day to get that resolved. He was requesting a faster response, obviously.
Okay,
because-
faster, okay.
Yeah,
I
and that
see.
has to do with
He
public
wants a faster
safety.
response,
If it has to do with
obviously,
public
if
safety,
it's in
of
for
course.
public safety,
Correct.
okay, I
But
see.
any frequencies we use, we have to get
It's all
licensed
licensed,
first,
yeah.
so they don't interfere. And any other frequency would be unlicensed, which the county
Okay.
doesn't run in.
so Commissioner Clark asked about the rent, and so my question is that fair market value of what's going on and what you pay
It's
other
a little
places?
more than what we pay the state, but the same as what we pay the TV district.
So we kinda took the higher of the 2 and went with that, 'cause
Okay, thank you.
Alright,
One more thing that you guys might consider is that they cannot sublease.
oh, yes,
Just to make sure that that's clear, because like,
This
in the
is not
language
clear
here,
in there?
installation, it doesn't, kinda sounds like in there that you guys could possibly sublease any spaces, and I just wanna
Not
make
our
sure we don't do
intention.
that.
Yeah,
Like
no,
I
not
said,
at
I
all.
pretty
Yeah,
much
we
took
want-
But we
the
can't add that in there
boilerplate
specifically.
yes,
from the
we
TV district.
definitely want that in there.
Yes,
So
of course.
there's an- do we
So
have
that's a
motion?
third amendment to it, right?
Okay, yes,
I'll make a motion that we approve the proposed agreement between Lander County and Sky Fiber Video to rent space in Mount Loomis Communication Tower Facility with the stipulation they can't sublease.
With the contract to be brought before the commission for approval.
yeah,
Okay, and the contract be brought forward to the commissioners for approval.
I'll second the motion.
and, but within there, with the interference issue and no subleasing, so those things in there, so. Art made the motion, and Patsy seconded it, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Alright. For possible action to approve or disapprove moving the janitorial item, and position from the recreation center to the buildings department.
So is what we had in the past is the rec center had their own, site-specific janitor, and all other janitors fell under our building department, and they maintained the remainder of the buildings of Lander counties. So we're just lumping them all back together, putting all janitors under the building department and letting them, Anna will assign them as needed, so we have everybody kind of different eyes looking at different things, getting a better cleaning job for you.
Okay.
So they were reporting directly to the manager of the recreation center, and now they report to Anna.
Correct.
I make a motion that we approve moving janitorial line item and positions from the rec center to the building department.
I second the motion.
All right, Art made the motion, Patsy seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, very good. Moving on, for possible action to approve, disapprove the use of the old Lander County Jail located at 25 East Second Street by the sober senior class of 2021 for the purpose of implementing the yearly haunted house event and fundraiser, and to allow current Lander County, and to follow current Lander County health and safety guidelines.
Hi, Alicia Price for the record.
Thanks for doing this again. This is one of the best things for Halloween.
It is, huh? And we're glutton for punishment. Just so everyone knows, everyone in there will have a mask on, so.
And hand sanitizer.
Yeah. Well, it's a haunted house. We gotta have masks.
And stop by and get some money for candy.
Okay. Yeah, so we're planning on doing this again. Cassandra's manning it again, Gunther, because she's the creative edge behind this. So I don't know if anyone else knows what they do, but the kids go in, they transform that area into a haunted house, and that's how they make money for their party at the end of the year. So it's been a big success over the last 3 or 4 years that you guys have let them use it. So, and it kind of gets them all working. They have to work for it, so they go in for several weeks before and put it together, and so.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the use of the old Lander County Jail located at 25 East Second Street by the sober seniors class of 2021 for the purpose of implementing the yearly haunted house event, fundraiser, and to follow current Lander County health and safety guidelines.
All right, do we have a second? I'll second. So, Art made the motion, Kathy second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you. All right, so correspondence, reports, and future agenda items. So the question, when I was speaking with her earlier, is that once we finish the meeting, then we could go into can we do that? Go into after we close the meeting? Is that something we can do? Okay, so yeah, after we finish, we can go into closed session after. All right,
Make a motion, public comment.
so any public comment? All right, a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Very good. Thank you, everyone.